Welcome to Spill Your Milk, the podcast where infant feeding, lactation, and orofacial development come together in insightful yet casual conversations.
We're your hosts, Nicole Edwin and Kayla Richardson, speech-language pathologists and international board-certified lactation consultants.
We're here to help you navigate the world of infant feeding, airway health, and holistic wellness. Whether you're a seasoned parent, expecting your first baby, or a professional working with babies, this podcast is for you.
From breastfeeding and bottle feeding tips to developmental feeding and body work, we're tackling it all. Plus, we'll share some real stories from families and interview experts across the field.
So take a deep breath, settle in, and let's spill some milk. Cozy?
I think so.
All right, we're on. Well, good morning.
Is it afternoon yet? No.
No, not yet. Not quite.
No, we're still morning. We almost always record in the mornings.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of these days it's going to be like 2 o'clock, and I'm going to be like, good morning.
It'll be fine.
No.
People listen to us at any time.
That's true.
Yeah.
It may not be morning for you, so if it's afternoon, good afternoon.
Hi.
Hello. We're going to talk about my Audrey story today.
Yes.
Whew. I'm
She's
scared for my brain to have
she's
to
a tough cookie.
I love her. You know, the other day she asked me why she hasn't been into feeding therapy with you for a while.
Uh-huh.
And I said, do you miss it? And she goes, well, I just really want some of that peanut butter and chocolate dip.
So make some.
That's exactly what I said. I said, the whole point is for you to do that at home.
Uh-huh.
And she was like, oh, okay.
I bet it didn't even click.
No. And then she got nervous, so she's like off dairy right now. So she's like, but can I have that? And I'm like, we have dark chocolate. Like,
Yep.
You're good?
Or you could do like the So Joy Life.
Yeah. Yeah, which is what I used to use a lot when she was a baby.
Yeah.
Like, full circle, really.
Oh.
She's like back off dairy, you know what I mean? Full circle.
Which is basically what we're going to talk about today, right?
Yeah.
With her.
I'll start like with that little conversation though, because we just realized that she was still having a lot of reflux.
Really?
Yeah, because so she's 8, you guys, now 8.5. And just like, I don't know, a few weeks ago, I guess, she was like, well, you know, when like you kind of throw up, but it just like goes in your mouth and then you swallow it. And I'm like, dude, how often is that happening? She's like not that often.
Like a couple times a day.
Oh, and Dan's like, well, for reference, it never happens to me. And she goes, oh, kind of a lot.
Oh, no. See, I hate it when, as a parent, we find out our kids have been experiencing these things.
I know.
But it's so normal for them. They don't even think to say anything.
I know. And I really think it's just like, yeah, and we're going to dive in, obviously. But like, that's been like her whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't know that it was atypical. And it kind of brings me back to like where I'll go with the story, which is just like, I don't really think we grow out of it. I think it just looks different, you know?
I agree with that.
We're trying to, she kind of made the decision, you know, because I always get worried about like restrictive diets and like, you know, I don't know. Like I want it to be a healthy decision that like she is also making versus me being like, you can't eat dairy.
Age.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really scary.
I totally firmly believe in
girls
autonomy.
Specifically, like I just want her to have, like I don't want to be like, well, you can't eat that. And even now, still, like she'll be like, I kind of want some ice cream. And I'm like, well, like how are you feeling? And like how, you know, have you had any dairy this week? And she'll be like, I really haven't had any. I think it'll be okay to like have a little. So we go into it very like relaxed with the understanding that she has notably noticed that it has gotten better. And then when she has had too much, it comes back.
Yeah, and like that's such an awesome place to be because Kylie has experienced that same thing.
Yeah.
Especially with dairy. It's like certain seasons she can pretty much be unrestricted, and then there are other, I mean seasons literally and environmental seasons.
Yeah.
Like when her immune system just can't tolerate what's going on outside, plus the attack of dairy.
That makes total sense because also the allergies, the seasonal allergies that both her and I struggle with this season have been very bad.
Yeah.
Like she was having like a chronic cough.
Yeah, like that little tickle.
Yeah, and it actually went away after she made the cut.
Yeah.
So we were like, you were probably refluxing just constantly. Whoa. But anyway.
We do the best we can with the information we have.
With the information we have. And now that she's older and
the awareness.
She's so self-aware of her body. It's insane. Like I am impressed with her constantly at how like self-aware she is. So
That's so cool.
That's really helpful. So yeah, it's been kind of cool to watch her make that decision for her health and her wellness. And then also not be so crazy restrictive that she can't have a milkshake, which she loves every once in a while. You know?
Exactly.
Like, it doesn't have to look like that all the time.
Kylie has an allergic reaction to tree fruit.
Interesting.
Well, it's the pollen. It's actually called something.
That makes sense.
So it's the same reason she can have a cherry pie because it's baked, but she can't have an actual cherry. So her sister-in-law, we went to the botanical gardens yesterday, and she brought cherries. And I'm assuming she brought cherries from Idaho, but I didn't ask. So she had cherries, and Kylie's like, man, I haven't had a cherry in such a long time. Like, I want one. And Bella was like, are you sure? She goes, yeah, I want one. Not a few minutes later, she's like, damn it. Her lips were tingly, her mouth was tingly, her throat was tingly. One cherry.
Listen, I get it.
She liked it.
I get it.
And it went away.
I get it, because for a while, it's not happening anymore, interestingly enough. I was having, like, reaction to, like, garlic. Do you remember that?
No.
Oh my gosh, I was having like weird reactions. Like every time I would have something with garlic in it, like my mouth would get like a little tingly.
Really?
And I was like, this is so weird, but like...
Whatevs. I love garlic.
The girl loves garlic. So I was like, and I would forget. I'd be like, I'm going to eat this. And I'd be like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I had some garlic, I think. Or I'll be like, was there garlic in that? I can tell. Hasn't happened in a while. I don't know what that was. Just a histamine response, I guess.
Yeah. I'm like that with gluten. Now that I cut it in pregnancy.
Yeah.
And then... I don't know. Okay, so Quentin is 9 months old now, and now I've had a little gluten here and there. I'm like, I'm not rushing to the bathroom right away. It's not. I'm doing better. But then I realize how bloated I get.
There's a build too. You know what
Exactly.
I mean?
Exactly. It's a
dose
build.
dependent.
So like, if I haven't had any in months and I have one, it's fine.
You're like, I'm cured.
Nope. Nope. There's a threshold.
Oh, yeah. Food
Right?
reactions. My sweet Audrey. Man, we struggled.
From the beginning.
It wasn't until she was about 6 weeks old.
Oh, okay.
Which is interesting because I do kind of see clinically.
Teresa has mentioned that before.
Yeah. Like 6 to 8 almost. Like sometimes they'll be doing fine and then all of a sudden it'll just freaking show its face.
So I have a theory in that.
Tell me.
Well, it's not always the case. So it's a theory. We'll go there with the vaccinations.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
you're not the first person to have said that to me.
So, like, the immune system can only handle, just like we were just saying, like, the immune system can only handle so much. And so when it's dealing with processing what is within and how the immune system is supposed to react to vaccine, then those other things that can cause a heavier demand on the immune system, it can only handle so much.
Yeah.
So then we see this dairy intolerance that pops up out of nowhere, what seems like it pops up out of nowhere. But I will say we work with a lot of babies that are not vaccinated or on delayed vaccines.
Healthy mix for sure.
We really do. And I still see this occasionally with babies that are not vaccinated as well.
Yeah, so. But it's possible it could be connected like severity-wise or like, who knows? Maybe we'll know more in like 10 years.
Right.
I don't know. But yeah, so it didn't pop up until a little bit later, but it hurt to latch her from the very first day, so we already had talked through my Evelyn story, so I had already been through that before.
Right.
So I definitely was like, in the hospital, I was like, somebody better get a lactation consultant in here because I am not
going through this again
and doing like nothing about it, So they sent one to my room. And the only thing I really remember was like, she was like, oh, she looks pretty good. There's some dimpling in her cheek. We don't really like to see that.
But
the end.
Oh. Oh. Great.
And that really was like the seed that started it all, because like my interest in my move to doing this work. Because I was like, what do I do?
So you don't like it. And
how do I fix that?
Correct.
I don't remember being given anything.
Well, I think that's...
I think it was like, I'll come back tomorrow and check in and see how she's doing.
Yeah. And I think that's fair because you think about like the lactation training that we got.
Yeah.
We learned what we didn't like,
Positioning.
and that's all you
Yeah.
learned.
And what it should look like. And that is, yeah.
Just basic
that was
positioning.
it. Yeah. So again, like anytime I'm thinking about this and telling the story, like I'm not really, I don't have targeted anger towards that lactation consultant, or I have a little bit of anger regarding the system, you know, and like, yeah, how lactation consultants are trained and the lack of like digging for the cause of that.
Or like what we see maybe in different settings is we have lactation and we have speech. There is no crossover.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah, they would have never called
But
a speech therapist in for that.
Of course not.
No way.
Yeah,
no
of course
way.
not.
So I don't really remember how long the pain lasted with her. Because I think as the pain was resolving, the GI stuff
Was escalating.
So, like, there was no point where it was just like, this is good, you know? Yeah, the GI stuff started to kick up, and it was mucus in her stool. I mean, she had all the things that you and I would think of as, like, your very classic, like, food reaction, gut dysfunction symptoms. She had chronic rash in her diaper area, chronic rash on her cheeks. There was mucousy green stools. She had constant, like, rhinitis. Like, she was just constantly mouth breathing because she was so congested all the time. Recurrent ear infections. Vomiting everywhere.
Oh, man.
Projectile.
Like what she could have, she did have.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I see babies all the time who have, like, maybe one of those symptoms or a couple of them.
So
but
it kind of becomes manageable. Like, even if they decide they don't want to
it's
make
less
big
obvious,
changes.
I think. It's like it takes me more to, like, convince them that there's something going
Correct.
on. But she, I mean, it was in your face, right? She also was obviously, because her stomach hurt, and I mean, there's so many other things. She was a C-section baby. She was tight, tight, tense. So very quickly around the same time, I noticed that she had a head turn preference. So I went through 3 pediatricians with Audrey.
You guys were in St. Louis by then,
We
right?
were here by then. Yeah. Oh, and to set the stage,
Were you working for Stepside?
I
too?
wasn't working at all.
Okay.
Dan was in Korea.
Oh, yeah.
He was not present for her birth. We had to FaceTime him in.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was home alone. I mean, I had help. I had support. We have a wonderful family and supportive family who helps me all the time still. He did. So he didn't get here in time for her birth. So we FaceTime him in. And then he was home for a month.
Nice.
And then he went back. But he was gone again by the time all this really started to kick up.
So you've got a toddler.
Yeah.
And you're
2-year-old.
basically by yourself. And
And a baby who's got all these crazy
Struggling.
symptoms and struggling. So I noticed the head turn preference. I may have noticed the head turn preference prior to the GI stuff really getting bad. So the first pediatrician she just ended up leaving the practice. I adored her. She was wonderful. I brought her in and I said, I think her neck is tight. And she was like, no, it's not. She looks great. And I was like, no, you're going to watch her. Like, right by this time, that, like, piece of me that was, like, a seasoned parent was like, no.
You don't get to dismiss this.
I'm a therapist. Like, yes, I have a heightened awareness. It's there. You're going to sit there and watch her. And in her defense, it wasn't like she was, like, completely cocked to one side. She stayed in neutral well, but she did want, I don't even remember which side it was now, but, like, she did want to go to one side. I could get her to go to the other side, but she would just
Go back.
she wouldn't stay there, and it wasn't controlled. Like, I could just tell that she had some tension. So I brought her in, and I was like, no, watch her. So she's like, oh, yeah, I do see what you're saying. So she gave me first steps information. enter Gina.
Stop.
Yeah, that's how I met
Gina?
her. Yeah, and guys, Gina works at our clinic now. She's our PT.
So incredible.
About to take her IBCLC exam this year. Like, she's a gem. I love her. But that's how we met. So she was really in this with me. You know, she knows Audrey from the get-go. So we started PT. And that, I was dealing with all this GI stuff. That pediatrician left. The next one comes in, and I go in, and I'm like, you know, her stool, like all the symptoms that I just described to you guys. And I'm like, my niece had gone through this and essentially had to be on a hypoallergenic formula. So I was aware that food sensitivities, allergies were a thing. And my sister-in-law and my brother had visited like the week before, and I was like, I asked my sister-in-law, like, is this what her poop looked like, right? And like she was like, oh yeah, to a T. And like same symptoms too, like the just rashiness, chronic stuffy nose, ear, like, all of it, like very similar. So it wasn't like I had no idea what it was. So I went to the pediatrician, and she said, there's no way that anything you're eating is impacting her.
Which we have heard that before. Yeah,
we have studies on allergies in breast milk, and there's no way.
This wasn't being dismissed. This was just
You're wrong.
You're wrong.
You're wrong.
This is not real.
You're wrong.
This is not real.
Yeah. And again, like, I really like telling this story. Like, I can just tell how much I grew in that 2 years where I had, like, become a mother, because...
This is the catalyst, though, that really set you off.
It really set me off, and I was like, no. So I left there, and I found a new pediatrician.
Like, you're wrong.
and then by that time, too, like, I had cut dairy. I had figured out, after I cut dairy, I was really, like, repulsed by meat during my pregnancy with her.
Oh, come on. That's not totally just pregnancy.
No, I don't like meat very much at all. It's not true. It's poultry. I don't really like chicken. I'm like real iffy about chicken. Like I eat it because I know like it's a good source of protein and it's good for me. But
you're like, I do this because I have to.
I eat it because I have to.
I will bring you rabbit someday.
Oh my God, no, I will not eat that. Oh my gosh, that makes me think about like when Dan tried to convince me that I should like deer meat.
Yes.
Like, and I'm just like, this is so gross. Like, no, I just don't like it. I know. So anyway, I was like, okay, well, I don't really want meat right now, and now I can't have dairy. I'm going to cut that out. So I was like, I'm a vegan. Perfect. So I go to Chipotle and I get like the tofu. And that night,
oh no. Because you didn't know the cross reaction of soy.
I had
and
no
dairy
idea the proteins are very similar.
Yep.
But immediately I got on the internet and I was like,
I figured that out real quick.
Okay, now you can't have dairy or soy. So there goes that whole vegan game plan. So cut dairy out of my diet, cut soy out of my diet. But and she did get better, but there were still symptoms there. And so by that time I had established care with a new pediatrician who we love, and we are still with her today because she's very validating. And we don't always agree, but she is always so willing to hear my wants and needs and meet me where I am and give me the referrals I need. And we love her. But I walked in there and she was like, no, this looks to be exactly what that is. And I was like, Thank you. It's like what I needed was for someone else to be like, you're right.
Right.
Because I was just in the trenches of it by myself.
Right.
And then it's so interesting to think back on. I think about my sessions with Gina. So she was there one day working on Audrey, loosening her up, working on her fascia,
doing her magic,
doing her thing. And then she got hungry. And I fed her.
And she got all tight again, didn't she?
I gave her back to Gina, and she was like, what the heck? Because even though, she's a wonderful PT, but she had not gone down this rabbit hole, really.
The GI
we
stuff,
really went through all of this together, and we were like, interesting.
That's solid data right there.
Yeah. I mean, it was just so she's like, she is so tight. right? And, you know, if you follow us on socials or have seen any of the stuff that Gina puts out, it's like we always talk about this cycle of like tension and latch and GI and sleep and all of the stuff and how it's connected. And so she was like the picture of that. Because even though I really wasn't in pain a lot anymore, like her latch was not good. And even though I had calmed down the severity of her symptoms, she was like still projectile vomiting. She felt better. Like I could tell she felt better because she wasn't as fussy as she was before. But it wasn't gone by any means. And so somehow, as I was like trying to figure out all the food stuff and like really like looking at her symptoms, I came across tongue tie information. And then I traveled down that rabbit hole and I was like...
Did you dive deep into that rabbit hole?
Oh. Dove a little deep. And this was 2017, so...
We had one release provider in the area back then.
I was just going to say, like, I mean, this was not... We have come so far.
Yes, we have.
With our awareness, because people were still very... I mean, we still run into this sometimes, but people were... It was very... That is not a thing, and it does not exist. And that is not real. But, you know, I got in there and did my thing, like, because of our background, you know, I was quick to just be like, I'm going to look. I know what that anatomy looks like. Like, got in there, and I was like... Oh. So not only are we having these food reactions, but some of this could be contributed to by her oral function because she does not have good tongue mobility at all.
And how old is she about at like this time?
This was like later infancy. Like, I'm going to have to backtrack here in a minute because even she really struggled with solids too.
This was potentially after?
Yeah, because she
solids?
had her release when she was 9 months old.
Okay.
So Gina's sister at the time had some knowledge in the area, and so she sent her out to do an assessment with me.
Do you know that we went to the CLC course together?
Yeah. I remember that, yeah. And she watched her take a bottle. So I actually think by this time, like I literally could not calm down her symptoms enough. Like I was trialing like not breastfeeding her and giving her hypoallergenic formula because she was just miserable at times, like so congested, the red cheeks. Like, I mean, she just looked so uncomfortable in her own body. Like, so I was kind of, because I don't want to say I wasn't supported because there was also like a dietitian on my team who I love dearly and still like co-treat with like the First Steps program, who's wonderful and validating and really helped me like work through some of the diet stuff. But it was like, no matter how strict I was with my diet,
it wasn't getting better.
It wasn't enough. And so I had got it in my head that I was like going to just have to switch to formula. Right? Give her a hypoallergenic formula because I just couldn't control my diet enough. Which looking back, I definitely feel like that was a mistake. I wish I had just kept going because it wasn't the answer. And rarely is it the answer.
That's true. But definitely all you knew.
All I knew to do at that time, and without the proper supports in place and the knowledge that we have now, I mean, I felt like I had tried everything else.
Understandably, because it really sounds like you have.
Yeah.
Under most circumstances, anyway.
Yeah. And so we started solids at like 7-ish months, just based on her readiness cues. And she could not tolerate, she would only eat thin baby food that was like beech nut brand, like from a specific
brand?
Jar. Yes.
Girl, that's
nuts. Wild. Right? Looking back, I'm like...
Like we see that with older kids and like package preference, if you will. But I don't think I've ever heard a baby have such a preference. Wow.
Like I have a video of me like offering her like a whole banana, like just like close to her lips and like waiting for her to respond, and it touched her lip and she gagged and threw up. So what I always say about her, because we've had some episodes where we've talked about her picky eating, is like she earned the shit out of that.
Yeah.
Like, and I say that about kids all the time where they have really rough, like, GI starts or, like, you know, I'm like, can you imagine immediately learning, I eat and then I feel bad. I eat and then I feel bad. You're going to be like,
I don't really want to eat so much.
no, and I'm going to be real selective about what comes near my mouth. So she really struggled with that too.
Wow.
You know, like really every step of the way. And so I think that is really when Laura got involved and I started to like clock that there maybe were some tongue tie symptoms too. She watched her take a bottle and she goes, and you're going to laugh because we see this all the time. She goes, does it always look like this? And I'm like, literally in that moment, I'm like, you know what? Yeah. It's really hard for her to take a bottle. But I think because, A, I'm her mom, and, like, I had enough knowledge to know what good bottle feeding looks like at that point in my career.
But you're also mom.
It's such a highlight of, like, with your own kids.
Don't treat your own kids.
Don't treat them, and don't put the expectation on yourself that you're going to know anything.
Oh, right. Especially, like, to not feel like a failure because you didn't see something.
Oh, my gosh. And I battled that for a long time.
Yeah. The amount of therapists
in that moment, like,
see.
why didn't I see this? Or, like, why couldn't I do anything about this? But, like, looking back on that specific moment, I'm like, the blindness that comes with your own children. Because as soon as she said, does it always look like this? I was like, oh, damn. Her latch is terrible. Like nuts. Like Dr. Brown's bottle, standard nipple, she could not hold on to it. It was just like all over the place. She's popping on and off. Like, I mean, a disaster. And so that was really like, you know, and then she's 9 months old. I get her ties released. 2 weeks later, that projectile vomiting just stops. And I was like, oh, okay. Interesting.
There's a connection here.
Yeah, and you know what I learned in grad school about tongue ties? Like, the single piece of evidence we had while I was in grad school was, I remember reading this study that, and it was, like, related to speech, really, was that kids who have tongue ties, gosh, my brain's going to blank right now, but it's like, it doesn't keep them from needing speech therapy. Duh.
I didn't learn a single thing.
That was it.
Yeah. That was probably like
like
in your Arctic class or something.
Yeah, like, duh.
Right?
Yeah, they're still going to need the therapy. We still know that today.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that they're not real.
Thank you for that information.
Right? So, yeah, that was really all this, the catalyst to, learning and understanding more about ties and, like, igniting my passion to be a speech therapist again, because I was all done. It was really all done. And the experience of, like, I am not the only person that is going through this, and there is no one out there helping anyone who's in this spot. You know, it's even like we saw GI, there was never talk about altering diet or what's going on with the gut.
Oh, here's your script.
And even when I would go back and be like, this isn't, I mean, she did several trials of reflux medications. I mean, we did a PPI blocker. It didn't do anything. Anything. They scoped her looking for EOE.
Wow.
I mean, we were digging. And, I mean, ultimately, I can't even say that I really have the answer, because still she struggles. But her gut was just so messed up. And Gina definitely told me to go, you know, see our friendly chiropractors, like the people that we both see.
Yeah, because she was seeing that practice back then.
Yeah.
Because I had learned about Gina through our chiropractor.
And it was just one of those things that I just felt like I didn't have the capacity for.
Yeah, that
in
makes
the
sense.
moment, given the situation I was in, like
Yeah.
the husband's in a different country, and
And that would have been new to you back then, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. I think about it all the time, though. I'm like, I cannot
Yeah.
believe I did not
That's all
make
right.
my way here. You know, like, I know it's fine because I was being honest about what I could handle in the moment.
Yeah.
You know,
That's what I love about you as a therapist, though, too. Is that
that I
you're
meet people
very
where they're at.
Yeah.
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 And I think that's a
And you're a
skill.
straight
Like,
shooter,
I
too.
think, yeah, if you're a professional listening, like, I do think I excel at that.
Mm-hmm.
Even when we have, like, our students and stuff in a room with me, they're like, I love how you said that. And I'm like, I just think that we have to be realistic about home life.
Yeah. We are all living lives, and there's a lot of demands on us as parents and in each of our roles, you know?
Yeah,
It's
and you
like
can
we have
only
to-
handle so much.
Yeah.
And being a parent is really hard. Being a parent of a baby, being a parent of a toddler and a baby at the same time, just a toddler, like, it's just so taxing. And it's like sometimes, I think a really good example of this is dietary restrictions. Because so often I will have a parent, like I'll have a dyad in my room, and I will see some of these signs, and I will explain to them what I'm seeing, and I'll say, here are some of the things that we can do that we see work all the time. And I'll say, one of them is making some changes to your diet. Can I ask you, like, if I said that we maybe could try cutting dairy for a month, does that feel very, very stressful to you? And some of them are like, no,
I could totally
piece
do
of
that.
cake.
Yep.
And I'm like, great, let's start there.
Yep.
And others are like,
They start panicking in the moment.
yeah. And I say, hey, let's try a probiotic. Let's try a digestive enzyme. Let's try this, all these other things tools that we have, that we use. But my approach there is about meeting them where they are until they are ready to make that decision. My job is to inform you on the strategy that I see work all the time. It is not my job to tell you what to do.
Yep.
And I don't want you to feel like you can't come back in here next week when you don't have to lie and say, yeah, I'm going to try to cut dairy. Like, I want you to be honest with me because
Tell me the truth.
we're a team.
Yep.
And if we're not on the same page, we're not going to make progress. So, and I just I know how hard that was. It was so hard for me. It was very, very taxing on my mental health. I don't even like dairy that much at the point. Soy was really hard. It's in everything. So
Yeah.
that is really when it became really, really hard for me. But we just have to balance what is realistic. And there's enough pressure. There's enough on moms
Right?
as it is.
As a baseline.
Yeah. And so it's like to add a significant change to your diet when a lot of times, especially if you've got a toddler and a baby at home, like you're just trying to eat.
Right?
What?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think it's like so important. So important. And I've straight up had, because I take that approach, I have had parents be like, they feel totally comfortable being like, I'm not going to do that. And I'm like, that's okay. And then sometimes they will get there on their own later because every parent loves their baby and they want them to feel better.
Right.
But do we have to start there necessarily?
We don't always have to.
We don't always have to start there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just had a baby. I just had one that like really a lot of reflux. And this mom was like, I just don't think I can. And I said, cool, let's try all these other things. And we started her on a digestive enzyme, and she came back the next week and saw significant change.
I love when that happens.
Yeah, because really, and in my head, during all this stuff I was going through with Audrey, in my head it was an allergy because that is the way that it was being presented to me. And now when I see a baby who's struggling with these things, my brain is really going, well, like, is it an allergy or is the gut just having a hard time processing these higher inflammatory foods?
Exactly.
And if we can, and a lot of times I'll tell people too, like, it was presented to me like, oh, it'll be fine. You'll keep trying every 6 months and she'll grow out of it. Where really I look at it now, I'm like, here's really what's happening is like, we're going to remove this trigger from the diet to help your baby's gut function and heal. And then over time, their gut might be able to do it. Mm-hmm. It's not that they grew out of it. It's that they healed.
Yep.
And now they can process those foods. And sometimes, like in my daughter's case, it's not always fully healed.
Right.
She doesn't have chronic congestion anymore. She doesn't have a ton of rashy skin
She looks
anymore.
very healthy.
She's very healthy, thriving, lovely child. She is fine. But clearly she's still struggling with some GI upset, you know? And we do a lot of things. We do digestive enzymes and we do, you know, we work through it, and now we're trying to eliminate some inflammation from the food in this moment in time. But I just don't see it the same way that I saw it when she was a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that makes sense.
Yeah. And I remember our current pediatrician who, like I said, I love, she was like, I've never seen this go past 13 months.
It's very specific.
I know. Well, I think she was just saying, like, of all the cases that I've had, that's the latest I've seen it stick around. Not necessarily like we have research that says it's going to end at this point. It was more like that's as late as I've seen it go. And oh man, we were still trucking on at like age 3 with just the red rosy cheeks and all of it. So it was a really long journey with her, you know, with all of these small little pieces to it. Yeah. But it was like really for me, the tongue tie stuff, that's when I went and got my lactation training to realize that like we can put these things together. We can do what I do as a feeding therapist and have that lactation. I was going like, why am I learning so much about bottle feeding and oral function over here and nothing about lactation or breastfeeding?
Right.
That's a red flag.
It's so isolated.
Yeah.
Like a speech therapist can't work with a breastfed baby because that's a lactating parent. BS.
What in the world?
Right.
And then even when I went and did my lactation training, I was like, there are some gaps here.
Big gaps. Big gaps. And like, we did so much, not physically together, but we grew the same way.
Yeah.
And then we filled in those gaps by working with other providers.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's much more common now today, like this kind of niche area of practice for speech therapists, OTs, PTs, all of us is like growing. Like a lot of people are trying to get in this, but like then not a lot of people were doing that.
Yeah.
Like you and I got into it when we didn't know anything.
I didn't know another SLP doing what I was doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And it was just like simply, we were kind of that, I want to say like generation of therapists where it was just like we were all going, and it is funny because there's quite a bit of us now who were like going through it at the same time.
Yeah.
That all of our brains kind of did the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, hold the phone.
Yep.
Like this is crazy.
Yep.
You know, and so now this generation of therapists below us are like seeing it and like they get it and they want to get involved and they want to learn it. But like at the time, there were no resources. There were none. Like we were just figuring it out. And even when I brought Audrey to get that release, I mean, my goodness. Diode laser, they taught me to stretch with like a popsicle stick. Day of after the surgery had been done. And I was like, man, okay.
Yeah.
And she just happened to be a kid who, like, one of those babies who handled it like a champ. Like, she was smart. Like, you would have never even known. Like, the stretches were very stressful and annoying, but she handled them well. She got a high pain tolerance because she dealt with so much already, I think, and just would recover from it. And, like, it was taxing and stressful, but, like,
wow,
not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
You know? But it was just, like, fascinating to me. You know, I was like at this point, and then I'm like looking back on both of my lactation journeys, and I'm like, we're really missing the mark here.
Right. At least you were told to stretch.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I went to Little Flower. I mean,
figured.
they knew what they were doing at that point. And again, like to their own, like that's just where we were.
Yeah.
In the field.
Exactly.
You know, like that's just where we were. They didn't necessarily
They were ahead of
do
the time in the field.
Yeah, they weren't doing anything wrong. We just didn't know as much as we know now. Yeah. But ultimately, it just like, I don't know, planted this huge seed in my brain because I was just like, between the food and the ties, I was like, what about, I think in my head, because we're learning bottle feeding over here as speech therapists, but it wasn't in the sense of like supporting everyone. It was for really medically complex babies.
That's true. Yeah.
And so my head was like, and that's where all of this erupted, right? Because you were probably doing the same thing, was like, well, what about the kids like my kid who are not medically fragile, but our day to day is a struggle. And I know that what I do with these kids who are more medically complex still applies here.
Correct.
'Cause even with her solid feeding, right? Like it was like, there was just, no one was giving me a reason as to why my child could not transition to solids. She doesn't have some huge diagnosis.
Right.
She doesn't have a genetic abnormality.
Like you don't have to be medically fragile.
Yeah,
or
to need help.
complex to also struggle.
Yeah, to need therapy. And that was the first time I had really had that thought. And maybe because I just traditionally was in settings with
That makes
more
sense.
medically complex children.
Right. We're like working with tube-fed babies at that time. Or
Absolutely.
children.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Kids with Down syndrome. Yeah, kids with heart conditions. And so it really was just like, oh, we have this whole, pool of children who are not being treated the way they should be, right? Treated with therapeutic techniques.
Yeah.
So that was when things really just, again, I didn't know if I wanted to be a speech therapist anymore. But I also, I think having Gina in my home once a week kind of changed that a little bit, too. She was like, you can come work with me, through First Steps. And that sounded lovely. Because by the time she discharged Audrey, I was like, don't leave me.
Right.
Some people react really poorly to this. If you know me, you know that I am absolutely kidding. But I remember when she's like, I think she's doing really well. I don't think I really need to come anymore. And I was like, should I push her down the stairs? Please don't leave me. I would never push my kid down the stairs. I was joking because I was trying to figure out how I could keep her.
How do you still qualify to continue working with Gina?
Yeah. That was the joke. But
I get the joke.
all these little pieces, were such a big piece of my story professionally.
Right.
Just to get where we are today. Yeah. But it was just, I don't know. I feel like I just told that story this is what happened. This is what happened. I cannot overstate that my mental health and the way that I was obsessing over my diet and hers to keep her in a good place was insane. Which was interesting because with Evelyn, I would say I struggled with postpartum depression. I was sad. I was disconnected.
But this wasn't your experience with Evelyn.
I wasn't sad and I wasn't disconnected. I was obsessive, which anxiety or postpartum OCD, those kinds of things. But also that was just the forefront of talking about those things. Right. Up until that point, it was only depression. It was only depression.
Yeah.
So I had no clue what that was until a couple of years later, where that started to get a little bit more traction as well, where it was like, yeah, and part of it, I'm like, it was valid.
Right.
Because I would eat something or she would eat something.
Exactly.
And then she would be miserable.
So
and
of course you had to
both be
control
miserable.
that.
I had to control it. But it's like every family event you would go to, holidays, you're
the amount of anxiety that
the
brings.
level of anxiety about what you're going to eat to control that. It was a lot.
Right.
It was a lot. And I was angry at people around me for
people
not being more
considerate.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they thought I was overreacting. And I don't know if they did, but they probably were like, she's not in a good place. You know?
Or you're bringing your own food because you know it's safe. Or you think you're saying, hey, Grandma, can you make this dairy free? And they put all the butter in it because they don't realize dairy is butter.
Or just, coming from a family of people who are not passionate about breastfeeding the same way that I
Yeah,
like.
so the importance or the
Again, not in
value.
the sense of like, I don't think everybody has to do it, but it's just like what I wanted.
Right.
Why don't you just give her a formula? And eventually I did, like that was in my ear. And eventually I did do that. And when I didn't keep up with pumping, and so obviously my milk dried up, and I did get to a point where I realized the formula was not doing what I had hoped. And I went through this just insane grief where I was like, can I relactate? Should I, like, freaking out because it's not what I wanted. And I felt pushed into a corner.
But this was the answer, right?
Of course.
For so many people, that was the answer.
Of course. It wasn't. And even, I said she struggled with solids. She struggled with oral motor skills. She struggled with acceptance. She was incredibly selective from the get-go. But also I had to consider what started us on the beach nut is because I was having to read labels like a crazy person and make sure, I was thinking that she was reacting to things like natural flavors. And so I was like looking at
every
ingredient, which is kind of what landed us there. But then she was just stuck. She couldn't. And then even when she started to accept more textures, it was like she was still having so many reactions that she had like 10 foods that she could eat.
No wonder what you guys did the scopes and thought she had EOE.
Absolutely. I'm still not convinced she doesn't.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that was a whole, I guess, I don't know. I've really not gotten a straight answer about this. The allergist we saw did say, he was like, I have seen cases where kids get tested again later and they test positively. And so now with what we've been going through recently, it has been in my brain again to be like, do I need to go down that road again? Yeah. But it didn't make any sense to me at the time. Well, again, I was just so taxed. I'm like, I don't know why you didn't get a second opinion. But I saw a GI specialist in the area, and I can't even remember the rest of the appointment, but I was telling him everything that was going on. And I know that I had filled out our intake form very thoroughly. And before he walked out of the door after appointment, after we had decided that we were going to test her for that, he was like, have you considered feeding therapy? And I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. But anyway, the protocol before doing the scope to check for eosinophils, her eosinophil numbers or whatever, was that she needed to be on a reflux medication for 4 weeks. But I had read that some cases that is a treatment and it keeps it under control.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me.
So I was like, why, how can you definitively say that she doesn't have this?
If you're treating it.
If you're treating it and then testing.
That doesn't add up for me.
It didn't add up for me either. But the testing was negative, so. And she also, by the way, oh my gosh, I forgot about this. This is such a big piece because it's such a contributor to the gut. I can't even believe it. Because she was chronically congested and her swallow was atypical. She had chronic ear infections.
Of course she did.
Of course she did. That she was treated with antibiotics over and over. I mean, injections. So we were in this nasty cycle of I don't even think they would treat it with an antibiotic and we would go back and she'd be like, I don't know if she has another one or if it's still there. It was constant. So we did end up with tubes, but that whole thing was going on too. And I'm thinking back, I'm like, wow, her gut was so messed up from the get-go.
Right.
And then she was just given antibiotic after antibiotic. And I'm like, this is crazy. Crazy. I don't even know.
I mean, it's almost like you're set up for failure, but the treatments aren't intended for failure.
No,
they're intended
and again, it's well, our pediatrician was the one prescribing the antibiotics. She was doing her job.
Right.
Like, she's not a bad doctor.
Right.
Like, that is the treatment.
Right. Also, it kind of speaks to, like, we tell our team, there are babies that you're going to come across that you can't just quite get them where you want to.
Yep.
And then we kind of figure out later what that was.
Yes.
What was that massive roadblock that we couldn't get you to where you needed to be? And then later you're like, oh.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Right.
Totally. Totally. We don't have crystal balls. We don't
No.
have all the answers.
Exactly.
And every body is so complex and different. And so, again, when I think back on her story and everything we were going through, like, there's no targeted blame at anybody. I just think systematically the way that we are still today sometimes, like, which is like why we created this clinic, is like, how can those be my only options? Why is the, like, you know, I'm asking questions of like, well, why are we doing it this way? Or like, you know, just thinking outside the box to make a change, because the way, I mean, I asked for the help. I went to tons of appointments. I saw specialists, and it was just hard. And I just felt like there had to be a better way. And now we help people who are in that same situation all the time. And it's still not perfect.
No.
You know what I mean? But those families come in here and they feel heard and they feel supported. And that was really, like, obviously I had some really wonderful people on my team.
Yeah.
That are still in my life today.
Yeah. And they're all still learning. We're all still learning.
Yeah.
And we will all continue to still learn.
Yeah.
Because there's more that we haven't discovered or unfolded or,
Yeah.
you know.
For sure.
And I think, like, one of the biggest ones that where we're talking about, like, infant gut is the relation to the parental gut and the parental
Oh my God, my gut
autoimmune
was
response.
so messed up. My stress levels were insane. I mean, there's so many things that, like, today I would do very, very differently because I have different information.
Yep.
And I have experience and I have, you know, but it wasn't like, it just wasn't available at the time. You know?
Exactly.
And again, like, there were some things that I look back now and being like, oh, like, I wish I would have gone here. But, like, I was so taxed.
Yeah.
And just, like, you know. So,
But
it
even
just
the
is what it
providers
is.
that we have now didn't have the experience
No.
then either.
No.
Or
we know so much
not
more.
the same level
Yeah,
of
we know
experience.
so much more. So it just, it was what it was. But it was this experience of just so much of me, a part of me that was not there before was born, you know?
Yeah.
And to be able to, like, pass that on and, like, help other people.
That's such a good
like,
way
I'm
of saying
so,
that.
I'm, like, so grateful for it.
Exactly.
And, you know, you and I talk about Audrey, when we bring her up, we both have that same, like, she is just this spitfire little thing that, like, teaches me and amazes me every single day. Like, that, she was given to me for that. No doubt. And, like, as she knows this story. Like, she'll always be like, oh, I used to, when you'd feed me and I would, like, bite you and it would hurt really bad. Or she'll say, like, oh, I was throwing up all over you. Like, she knows her story. And when she becomes an adult, like, she's going to know how much of that struggle that she went through, like, changed people's lives.
Right.
Right? Because,
cool.
like, she was given to me.
Yeah.
And I was in a very
You were the
unique
right parent.
position to do
Something
something
about
about it and be like, not in our community. We're not doing it this way anymore. This is nuts.
Yep.
So, like, I just think that's really cool. And as much as she has struggled and as much as she still struggles with food, she is insanely picky.
Yeah.
But you got to look back at where it came from.
Yeah.
And be like, yeah, of course you are.
Exactly.
You know, and given that, she's in a great place. Like, she works hard, you know, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
She's a very cool kid.
I love it.
Yeah.
I adore her. She is something.
I know.
She makes me smile.
Same. Every day. Still teaching me, like, so much. I mean, she's got this insane body awareness, like I said, for her age. Like, she's just so aware of her, like, sensory system, and her, like, social emotional skills are, like, off the charts. Like, I just, like,
The language around her, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Think about the language growing up where we didn't have as much awareness or the language to describe. But the environment that we live in.
Yeah, and I, like,
And we get
provide
to
her the
expose
space
that.
to really think that way,
Yeah.
for sure, as a parent. But, like, she'll say things like, our sensory systems don't match, hers and I, you know, like, so
opposing?
like they are opposing, which can be very challenging if you live with a child of your own that has an opposing sensory system, you know what I mean? But like the best example of that is like about 7 to 8 p.m. I need everyone to shut up.
Yeah.
I have got to
And
be
is
in a
that
quiet
when
space.
she
And
ramps
oh
up?
my God, she cannot stop talking.
Yeah.
And like instead of having, I mean, we do get in fights about it for sure, but instead of like consistently having this argument, like I'll say, hey, my body feels so stressed with all of the sensory information that is coming at me, the things that I'm looking at, the things that I'm hearing, the things that I'm feeling. Like I just really need to be still and in a calm space. And she'll say, my body cannot stop talking. Like she has said, in the same way you are saying that you can't handle any noise right now, I cannot stop making noise with my mouth. And I'm like, damn, that is awareness. Like she means it too, and it's
Yeah.
real.
It's real. That's not just like an excuse. That's genuine.
No. So she just really fascinates me because she like clocks that and will be
Yeah.
like, or like, I just don't really like the way this feels on my body. You know what I mean? And I like, it amazes me.
Yeah, instead of
because it
just
took
being
me
like,
until
I don't
I
wanna
was an
wear that.
adult to like clock those things about myself.
Truth.
And so I'm always like,
Right.
damn, you're really smart.
I love that.
I know. It's
That's
fun.
amazing.
So I don't know. I thought it would be kind of emotional to tell that story, but it was really healing to just kind of go through it
I
and
love
look at
this.
big picture and like
Yeah.
look back on it because it was a catapult to a lot of struggles for me. And I'm definitely on the other side of those. So
Yeah.
struggles lead to growth.
Yeah, they do.
And
They
a lot of-
can.
yeah, they can if
They
you allow
can.
them to.
Exactly.
You allow them
And
to.
that's something I've said for such a long time is if you're going through it, grow through it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So I think my takeaway with this is like I still feel like I have to have this conversation with a lot of parents, but I'm like I had one in here the other day in a very similar situation. And she looked at me and she was like, I feel nuts. Like, I feel like everyone around me thinks I am over exaggerating this. And I was like, no, ma'am, this is so real. Your baby should not be screaming all day and spitting up. And, you know, like, this is not what it's supposed to be like. Something is wrong. I don't mean that in a scary way, but you're not wrong. Something is going on.
Right.
You know, so like, always comes back to like, if you think something is wrong, it probably is. But you don't have to just sit in that. Get some help. And then I think professionally, I really like the tidbit that we brought up when I'm like, I really meet parents where they are. You have to.
Yes.
You have to.
Please meet
You're not going
people
to
where
get
they're
anywhere
at.
if you don't.
Yes. Right. And that's kind of to the therapist mindset as well. It's like, this is where we want you to be. This is where you're at. This is where we're going to start. And every step forward, well, it's not always forward, is going to be determined by the tools you have, the capabilities you have, and your goals. It's like they're all going to be different. That's why we look at every family so differently, and every family is so...
We can zigzag depending on your individual needs.
It might change.
That is individualized care.
Exactly.
You know, as a therapist or a provider or whatever you're doing, you cannot sit there and just be like, well, I've told her if she just cuts out dairy, like this is like that is bullshit.
You're
I'm
shutting
sorry.
down then too.
Yeah,
You're stopping.
Do better because
Yes.
you have got to dig deeper, find other tools.
The other tools. Because it's not always just cutting something.
Yeah, and like don't
find the right
don't
people.
Put that on the parent or whatever to just be like, well, they're not following through. And of course we all have that. But then I think the conversation we have here a lot of times when we see that is not, well, this parent doesn't follow through and they're not listening to anything I say. We're going like, what's the mental health status here? Like, what's going on? Or like, what's going on at home? Like, let's make sure to have a conversation with them of like when people come in and they're like, I didn't do my homework. And I'm like, thank you for telling me and thank you for being honest,
Like,
because
how can we adjust?
I need to know, have I given you too much? Or can I dial back what I've given you? Or can we try something different if this is not working for you?
Exactly.
That is teamwork. That is being a provider. You're not here to tell them what to do. You're here to work with them.
Amen.
Preach.
We're going to leave it with that.
We're going to leave it with that.
Mic drop.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Okay. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to Spill Your Milk. We hope today's episode brought you some clarity, comfort, and practical tips for your feeding journey.
Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with fellow parents and professionals who might need a little extra support.
You can also follow us on Instagram at Spill Your Milk Pod for more tips, resources, and behind-the-scenes content.
Until next time, remember, every drop of effort you're putting in makes a difference. Keep spilling your milk, and we'll see you soon.